The same thing where OPay do. PalmPay just come outside to reveal their own plans to break the hearts of Nigerians. You see the way OPay come Nigeria, use Nigerians, build their business here inside Nigeria, but when it reach time for Nigerians to make money from the company, you know what OPay talk? OPay say, no, now Americans we want. We got rather carry our company, go America, and list them on their stock exchange market. You see this thing I just tell like this, so reports just come outside, say PalmPay, they plan to do this exact same thing. The only difference we say their own, now China they carry and go. And as all these ones they happen, the thing pain the CEO of the Nigerian stock exchange market. The thing pain the man to a point where we say the man fly come Abuja to come tell Mr. President relate to his face. See sir, waiting these 40 companies they do us. The thing you know good though. Sir, please you need to do something about it.
Companies who do business in Nigeria, they earn a lot of their profits in Nigeria, but they take that wealth abroad, to list on other exchanges. Most countries have the government of the day, not to say they shouldn't go abroad, no, it's a free market, but also to allow locals participate in this wealth that they're creating.
You don't hear that. So you see the reason why we dey vex, not be because we don't want these companies do the things they want to. As a matter of fact, these companies are not Nigerian companies. OPay and PalmPay are Chinese companies. But the reason why the government dey vex be say, imagine say your friend come your house, he carry your gas, cook food, he carry your food stuff and your ingredients, use cook food, but he not allow you to chop the food. How you go feel? Just tell me how you go feel. That's exactly why the government they fight them on this one, because you are extracting value from us and taking it to somewhere else without allowing our people or our economy to benefit from it. That is the problem. Though OPay and PalmPay never finalized yet, when I waiting they happen with that.
So PalmPay is about to raise a $200 million from listing to beat or to hit the $1 billion valuation mark, making it one of Nigerian's first fintech unicorns. And I'm talking joining the leagues of OPay, Flutterwaves, and Money Points. But the problem is, where are they listing it? Well, that's where the video comes in. So PalmPay is preparing to be listed in the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. Yes. Becoming the second Nigerian fintech company to toe that line. First was OPay, trying to raise about $4 billion in the United States, right? Now PalmPay is taking the lead again, going to Hong Kong to be listed. Which leaves us with the question, how are the locals going to benefit? Because the locals build the volumes, we build the customer base, we build the business partners, and at the end of the day, they get listed in foreign stock exchanges, creating a payday for venture capitalists, while the locals will only sit in the customer table. So what is stopping us from sitting on the stakeholder and shareholders table in these fintech companies? You blame infrastructure and you blame shallow local financial institution. So if PalmPay lists at home, it's going to mean building an infrastructure that could enable another 100 startups to kickstart in Nigeria. It's going to build the local infrastructure that we don't have. But if it lists like they want to list in Hong Kong and US and wherever, that means they are just leaving us with giving the VCs a payday. So what can we do to make sure we stop this capital flight? Because this is taking a lot of money. We're talking about billions in dollars outside Nigerian market. Because the GDP capital market is just an activity with no real structures. Real structures lies in ownership. So now we're talking about how we're going to build the infrastructure, deepen the local financial market and players.
Okay, do I speak in pidgin or make I just talk for pidgin make we understand? You see, wetin dey happen like this, sometimes they sweet my belly. Because when they talk, particularly when I talk about wetin the Chinese government they do for Africa and Nigeria, a lot of us they take them for granted. And see as they bite us right now for nyash. And in fact, make I speak good English because other people actually understand these things. I have been very critical of the Chinese model of business in Africa. And this is one of the reasons why I said, if Africans are not careful, if Nigeria is not careful, we will become slaves to the Chinese and some other countries that are bent on exploiting us perpetually. If I've done transactions with you and you send me an OPay account, I usually don't pay. OPay, PalmPay, I don't pay. Perhaps Money Point, because it's a Nigerian company, I would oblige that. This is one of the reasons why I usually don't put money in some of these economies. Not because I hate them. I want to see businesses, goods and services, trade happen globally. But you get to a man's country, you make all your money, then you shut your doors from them. So PalmPay, just like OPay, is listing in the stock market, but they can't do it in the Nigerian economy. They would rather get to America or China. And where did they make all the money from? From Nigeria. And they consistently will make money from Nigeria. You see what they've done, and I'm bothered about, is the fact that Our data is not just only being breached but stolen. They control us through the 360 strategy. I'm also going to come back to speak about the Chinese 360 strategy of taking over Africa and the rest of the world. It's a gradual process. So one of the reasons why I spoke the other day that the Ebukas, the Chiamakas, the Nnekas, the OBDKs, the ones you would call middlemen, the ones you see in our markets, may lose their businesses is because of what the Chinese are doing recently. You see, when the China phone arrived at our shores initially, they were quite cheap, very cheap. They could do anything, and you could throw any of these stones at mangoes to just pluck them because they were very durable, they said, in as much as they were mostly substandard. Because when you subject them to many analysis, they will fail. What did they do? They eventually got control of the market and they hiked their prices. And their prices are competing favorably with the Samsung phones and other flagship phones that are struggling to meet the market today. But a lot of us still don't know that those China phones are still substandard to the Samsung and other phones that are quite durable. But they didn't stop there. Now they have learned how to send our goods right to our doorsteps. From China, you could use Temu, you could use Shein, you could use every other platform to shop from Africa, Nigeria, and the rest of the world, and you get them on your doorsteps. We are gradually eliminating our middlemen, and when we're done eliminating our middlemen, you know what they do? They will hike the prices much more than what our middlemen that we accuse today would have added. And this is one of the strategies they use with our phones. The Temus, the Sheins that you shop from online, these are not the manufacturers. These are also middlemen elsewhere. So why not work with your locals? Why not control your markets? Why not make regulations or policies that prevents these sort of businesses? It is not in our interest, and that is why every year they call for China-Africa relations. They call for China-Africa conferences. They call for China-Africa business roundtables. It's for a time like this, and they give us loans to repair airports we don't need, construct roads that we may probably not use and not be able to pay these debts. After a while, they take over your economy, they take over these items or infrastructure, and they begin to run them. What the Chinese is doing today, Africans don't see them yet, but it is going to be worse than anything anybody else would do to Africa. When you speak, they say, oh, you are defending the West. I have never defended anybody. I've always said that leaders of Africa must learn to negotiate trade deals, must learn to negotiate at their own terms. I heard Mrs. Remi Tinubu speaking the other day that if her husband wins elections, she would eventually be wearing a quota. And I laugh. The biggest importer, the biggest operator of one of the biggest sports in Nigeria does not know that the pit dyes in Kano, the ones that produce the Ashokes and the Akwetes, are struggling with the China market today. The fabrics that are even used in making these Akwetes are all coming from China. If we don't make certain policies that addresses issues that affects our businesses, that affects the local tradesmen, the artisans, the businesses, a time will come when most of these traders in our markets will close shop, and we will pay dearly for it because we probably may have mortgaged our economy for the Chinese. The trade between China and Africa should have certain limits, and I believe that certain levels of production should move into Africa. The Chinese is not only just producing and shipping now, they come into also retail. They probably have stores in Lagos, and once you order online, they ship straight to your doorsteps, and you leave your traders hanging. At the end of the day, they close shops, they get into some sort of crimes, and we say insecurity in Nigeria is at an all-time high without asking why these things are happening. We need to revive our local economy, the textile factories, the garment industries, the pit dyes in Kano, the Ashoke industry in the southwest Nigeria, and the Akwete in Aba. But we cannot do this if we don't close the doors from the Chinese government that is making incursion into Nigeria. When China wanted to industrialize, what did they do? They shut their doors to the things they felt they didn't need. We don't need to import Ashokis. We don't need to import Akwetes. We don't need to import tie-dyes that we've always known to have had mastery of, because most of our designs are tied with our culture. They are tied with history, and for every line you see on most of these materials comes with long history of a people, stories that we rarely ask about. But what comes from China, mass-produced, lacks authenticity, and at the end of the day, we kick our artisans, our businessmen out of business for the Chinese government. That's what you are seeing with the OPay and the PalmPays of this world. If I have my way, no Nigerian will patronize any of these businesses, except They are indigenized, they operate, they raise their resources and they spend it within our country. Enough of this nonsense, because they make money off Nigerians and they repatriate them outside Nigeria. If I was any Nigerian who is truly patriotic about Nigeria, I will move to maybe Money Point or something else. They probably get free advert from me because it's a Nigerian owned company. And this is one of the reasons why I'm also happy that Okim Biscuit is coming back. Look at when Yale got into our country. They laced our biscuits, the cabin biscuits you call them, contributing to the excess intake of sugar by kids and contributing to the diabetics burden in Nigeria. Today, Okim Biscuit is coming back, and I'm proud of that. And what the government owes indigenous company is to support them to stand and they grow. We've imported all kinds of things, and today we are battling with non-communicable diseases without asking where all these are coming from. It is because of the influx of the things we cannot control, what we don't even know how they are made up of. It's a sad reality that PalmPay will want to list its stock abroad instead of Nigeria, where it made its money and gained its name. I call on Nigerians to do what is needful so that these companies will learn lessons and stop taking Nigeria and Africa for granted. And Africa must do all they can to look inwards to solving her problems. Our solutions don't lie in China. It does not lie in Beijing, but on ourselves. And only if we make this bold statement, then the rest of the world will take Africa and Nigeria for granted. I don't know what you think about this, but I'd love to read your thoughts on this burning issue, and I'll see you in the next video.